So what is it going to take if Trump is going to pull off the upset against Joe Biden? Team Rising is here to tackle that very question.
Joining us now, Democratic strategist, council member at large of Montgomery County, Will Jawando, and Gabby Orr, a White House reporter over at Politico. Two great friends of the show.
Indeed.
We miss having you guys in the studio. It's good to see you.
Great to see your faces, guys. Gabby, I wanted to start with you on your latest reporting about how is the Trump campaign feeling internally? Do they feel like, oh, this feels exactly like 2016 and under the radar, they're missing these trends that are going on and we're going to really pull off this massive upset? Or are they feeling like the balls aren't really bouncing quite in their direction the way that they did last time around?
There's definitely a mix inside the Trump campaign and among the president's aides and allies. A lot of the folks that I've been talking to just in the past few days have said that they're feeling major 2016 vibes. That the race has tightened in states like Pennsylvania and Florida in the final days before Election Day. They're paying close attention to their internal numbers, which they claim are moving in their direction. They're extremely confident that the Supreme Court confirmation of Justice Amy Coney Barrett actually helps them shore up the president's base and his support with religious voters, particularly Catholics, who are going to play a critical role in states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan. And then also evangelicals in places like Florida, Texas. So they are feeling confident, though they didn't receive the polling bump that they necessarily wanted to see after the second and final presidential debate. They were really hoping that the president's performance, which was fairly well received by most voters and viewers, that would give them a polling bump similar to the one that Biden received after the first debate, and that just didn't happen this week. And so that has been a warning sign for some folks inside the Trump campaign.
Yeah, we looked at, I think there's been 30-something polls after that debate, and I think the average increase was like 0.6. So
0.1. No, it was 0.1.
I've seen basically nothing. Will,
registered.
Right, yeah. So let's start with some scenarios. If something was going to throw out, and our friend Steve Karnacki over at MSNBC put some of these maps together. Let's put that up there on the screen, the first one, which actually shows that scenario in which same-day voters could come out for Trump, but Biden would still win. Does this just show the edge, Will, that Biden generally has going in? How are you feeling? How are many of your Obama campaign veterans feeling going into the election?
Yeah, it's good to be back with you guys. And I think this map is the perfect one to start with. When you look at the advantage, I kind of look at this as like, I'm a former college basketball player. You're going into the fourth quarter with a substantial lead. It's going to tighten because the momentum always swings and there's always a run that the other team makes. But can you hold on? And I think you saw the first statement of that in the debate. The answer was yes, with that 0.1 bump. I do agree with my colleague here that there will be some natural tightening that happens. But I think that map just shows the challenges that lie ahead for President Trump. Also, when you look at the early vote, they have said, it's just people that vote normally. And sometimes that's the case. But a quarter of the new voters that haven't voted are Democratic. And Democrats lead in new voters coming out, even though Trump has gotten a lot of people to come out, too. So I think when you look at all that, the leads that are already there, I think it bodes well for Vice President Biden. But look, we're still licking our wounds from 2016, so we're going to push hard all the way to the end. But I think it's a pretty insurmountable. It's going to be pretty difficult. Everything's going to have to go right to overcome that lead.
Yes. Yeah, Gabby, this next map is actually a really good one to bring to you because it shows a scenario in which Trump actually is able to eke out the win. And basically what Kornacki did here is in addition to all the swing states, plus Pennsylvania, which Biden is favored in by some 5-6 points at this point, plus they throw Nevada into the mix here. And this is actually a case I've been making here for a little while, that Nevada could be a state that bucks some of the other national trends because you have a large non-college educated vote. You also have a large Latino vote cohort with whom Donald Trump has been outperforming his margin with last time. So if he picks up Nevada and he wins all the swing states and he wins Pennsylvania, which is lean D right now as well, that would put him at 274 to sort of barely be able to eke out the win. Can you tell me what states do you see the Trump campaign really focusing on trying to flip? Where are they spending their resources? Where are they spending their time? Because the reality of what we're seeing in the polls right now is that Trump, in order to win, has to win not only every single swing state, like toss-up state right now, but he also has to eat into some of those that are, rated as lean D by all the major analysts, Pennsylvania being the key one, of course.
Yeah, I mean, I think that map is a really good illustration of where the campaign is spending their money and where they're at right now, because if you looked at that, you saw that Michigan and Wisconsin were both blue. The expectation within the Trump campaign is that they're not going to win all of the Great Lakes states on election day, that they might pick up one, they might pick up two, but there's no way the president is going to get all three that he won in 2016. And so in order to compensate for potentially a double loss in that area, he has to get strategic and campaign in places like Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire. These are the three states that they have been repeatedly saying would allow them to compensate for a loss in the industrial Midwest, which they are anticipating. And I think you hit the nail on the head when you pointed out, Crystal, that Nevada is potentially the most likely state that the president could pick up out of those three at this point. All of the factors that you mentioned are definitely something that the Trump campaign is paying attention to. In addition to that, I've heard them just in my own conversations repeatedly say that there's been an obvious influx of residents from states like California and Oregon who have moved to Nevada, seeking refuge from the policies that a Biden administration would potentially impose. So they might be more prone to vote for the president. But they're really banking on the expectation that those voters have already registered in Nevada and would vote as Nevada voters. So there's still a lot riding on this strategy, but the president is working with very thin margins in every single battleground state and also in traditionally red states. There's been a lot of attention paid to Arizona and Georgia. The president has spent a lot of time in Georgia, but right now, in the final 48 hours before this race comes to an end, I think you'll really see him focus heavily on Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Florida. Those are the three states that the campaign really just wants to make sure they have a lock on election day.
Yeah, I think that's right, Gabby. And finally, the final scenario, which would be just the kind of the crazy one, let's throw that up there on the screen, which is that, Trump wins by 322 electoral votes. And actually, it wouldn't be that far off. It would have to be a little bit more than the polling miss of 3.9% that we saw in 2012. And I mean, Will, I think you were on that campaign. That was something that I'm not sure if you guys necessarily expected that, but it's in the realm of possibility, isn't it?
Yeah, I wasn't on the campaign. I was a surrogate. Okay. I was helping out, but point taken. No, It's not. And if you look at Minnesota, just dealt a blow on the early vote. We know that some people's votes aren't going to be counted. The court, unless something changes, decided that anything comes in after Election Day, even if postmarked before, won't count. I think that's the other big thing here is, one, what will turnout be and who will turn out on Election Day? What votes will be counted after, as those legal battles still rage and decisions are still being made in real time, which is unprecedented? What are the cases that come after that? And so I think there's just so many unknowns that I agree. I don't think anyone should feel super confident with the polling when you look at those types of maps. And because you're talking about a couple of points either way, these aren't huge leads for Biden. It still would have to kind of be an inside straight for Trump to get that type of map. But it's not inconceivable. That's why I think no one's taking anything for granted. And you see people running across the country this last weekend.
Will, let me ask you one more question. If something crazy did happen and, we had another 2016 extinction level Democratic event where the polls are wrong, you end up with some map that looks like that, and Donald Trump gets reelected again. What do you think that conversation is going to be like within the Democratic Party? And acknowledging, look, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think, we're likely to see a Biden win, if not a major Biden victory. But what do you think the lessons or the reckoning would kind of be? What do you think the reaction would be if Trump was able to once again defy all the expectations and pull this thing off?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't think that's going to happen. But if it were, there would need to be some serious we had soul searching last time. I don't even know how you go deeper than soul searching, because I think there was a correction last time. One of the things that I've been heartened to see is the focus I think the Democrats put together, and many Democrats, myself included, think we put together one of the strongest tickets we could out of the people who were running to appeal to the people that need, like the older white educated voters that in poll after poll are consistently coming back to Biden in a way that they haven't before, younger voters coming out. We've done everything almost right. And so it would be pretty devastating to see, and I think be more of a testament to just how divided the country is, and to voter suppression, in my view, if that happens. But I don't think it will. But it would certainly be devastating.
Well, it'll be interesting. Okay, guys, stick with us. We're going to have more Rising for everybody right after this.